Well, here goes day one of our trip to Israel. It starts with a good breakfast, and then we will be taking off soon.
Yes, the boat's amazing.
What are you getting?
Espresso? Yeah, it's right there.
Oh, good. They got the machines in there.
I counted about 5 buses. That's a lot of people that will be taking off from the same hotel we're in. Our bus should be coming anytime soon. Well, our bus has arrived and we will be taking off soon.
Did I hear you say the lights turn on all the time?
With the Jesus crewing Israel again.
Yes.
Unbelievable.
Yes.
Wow, brothers and sisters, thank you for coming to Israel. I don't want to be Catholic, but I have to make a confession. I didn't believe it. I didn't believe it. Jose called me and this, and we were in the pandemic, and I was like, well, that's nice of Jose. He's very optimistic. I'll just help him out as much as I can, but I guess this isn't going to happen. And look at this. Wow. Brothers and sisters, thank you for coming to Israel. My name is Yoni Simmons, and I have the honor of being your guide on this tour.
Yay!
And we have Adel, our best driver in the Middle East is Adel. Adel, ben kama אתה? מותר לשאול? Adel is almost 40 years old. 40 years old.
Oh, man.
Adel, you're part of the good generation. Now you're gonna make it into the promised land. אמרתי להם 40 שנה הסתובבו במדבר ועכשיו אתה בא הביתה, אתה בא לארץ, למדינה, לארץ. עכשיו אדל, אתה נשוי? These two cows just went in a beeline straight to Beit Shemesh. This is it on the right side of the bus. This is the ancient hill of Beit Shemesh. But anyhow, back to Samson. He goes down into Timnah, and the parents meet, and they get married, and then he kind of has this riddle. Because on his way, when he had to separate from his parents to avoid going into the vines, he met with a lion that charged against him, and he killed that lion. He slew it. And then when he went back, some time later, he saw the lion and the sweet honey, and they won the bet. But he was so upset, he went and killed a whole bunch of Philistines and paid the bet with their dead bodies. And later on, he separated from his wife for a season. And when he felt better to go back to his wife. So that's why I started immediately reading the Bible on the tour.
That's what we like.
But usually I can't do that. I gotta ask people. Would it not offend you if I read the word?
We would be offended
If
you
I
did
read
the
King
word.
James, what does King James they say?
It's the best English one to read.
I think it's the only English one to read. But that's just my opinion. That's because I read the Hebrew one. And because I've been brought up in Hebrew,
It's the
We've
King
been-
David translation.
the Masorite, it was confirmed by the Dead Sea Scrolls. So the thing about Hebrew was a dead language, and the only thing that kept Hebrew alive was the word. And when Israel became a state, well, before it became a state, there was a man named Ben Yehuda. By the way, it's a good shopping street in Jerusalem. But Ben Yehuda, he revived the language, and the only way he revived it.
We are in the valley of Elah, where David fought Goliath. So we're gonna get a really good view from on top this mountain.
It's just the apples and the food in my backpack is making me too sick.
You got some food in your backpack?
I just got apples. And I think Mom packed too much in my jacket.
Well, that's what I'm saying. That's one of the
What do these things say?
I have no idea. They're in Hebrew, that's for sure.
Yeah, I was just wondering if they were some kind of
We'll ask Yoni on the way down.
okay.
Take
You can hold my arm.
Yeah, I'm holding her because the slope and the food is just working, making me too slow.
drive the bus like down there, like on a hike. You would like
Will it aim? Will it aim? Hey, there's my dad.
We're almost there. One more mile. This is a little taste of the hiking we do.
yeah, it is.
There's a cave right behind you.
This one's not too bad, but the view from up there,
Look, I'm not
we should
lying,
have
there's
a
a cave.
spectacular view.
The bricks are from 1 Samuel. 1 Samuel.
Oh yeah? Wow.
Yeah.
That's pretty neat.
She rather independent?
Oh yeah.
Oh, is that an understatement?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, that whenever you're digging at your house, this is what it reminds me of.
Yeah, I got depressed when I saw it.
I'm trying to get away from this stuff.
This is Israel? Come on.
This is a good view.
Is mine, but you can have it.
Or do you want me to drink it?
Would you like to drink some?
Pretty view. Yes, it is.
Drink a little way up.
And what is this up here? You got any idea?
No, it might be another excavation. I like those stones, man.
So yeah, you're already ahead of me. Like Larry already made the math in his head. 3.1. We're going through a very serious housing crisis. 3-bedroom apartment in Tel Aviv has reached already way over $1 million. It'd be 1.5 million for a 3-bedroom apartment in Tel Aviv. Oh, parking. You know the right questions indeed. So what we're having now is we're building high-rises everywhere we can to accommodate the young couples to try and give them housing that is actually.
Is there a name? Is there a name?
That's Beit Shemesh. Beit Shemesh. Today it's hard. If you want to do like that, you either go to the Golan Heights or down where we're about to travel today. It's the only place where you could get some kind of a property with not a lot of neighbors there. Every now and again we have Eastfold that forgot their bag. Okay, pick that up for them. That's their. This is a very Israeli thing. It's we have these sandals called Source, but then. The sandal bag that's called Source is a great coffee bag for, you remember that coffee we do on our trips? Yeah. It's also a Source bag.
It's got insects in it.
So I think it was that couple that sat here. If they come back, we'll put it here so they'll notice. So, the Philistines over there, the Israelites over here in the hills. Usually the weaker people sit up in the hills. If you're a good, strong people, it's a lot easier to just dwell in the flat land. You don't have to worry about security because who's going to mess with you? And these guys, they have to worry about security, and it's a lot safer and a lot easier to defend yourself while you're up in the mountains. But it comes with the price. You can't do so much agriculture. When we did the men's trek, if you remember, we saw how they overcame that by building those terraces into the mountains. And they learned how to do agriculture in the mountains. But anyhow, the Israelites are over here. Those mountains are dominated by a tribe called the tribe of Judah. And then there's a lot of Simeon also into that tribe. And the story that took place here, that's the valley over there. Right over there is the valley. There's this little hill inside this valley. And the valley goes up into the area of Hebron. And that place, Halhul, is called. So I think it's in 1 Samuel 17 where it talks about what took place over here. Now the Philistines gathered together their armies to battle and were gathered together at Shoho. Shoho is that hill over there. It's, the road runs right under Shoho. It has been identified. Which belongeth to Judah and pitched between Shoho and Azekah. We are on Azekah right now. And Ephes Damim. And Saul and the men of Israel were gathered together and pitched by the valley of Elah and set the battle in array against the Philistines. So I'm just guessing from a logical point of view, if they came down from the Israeli side, from the mountains, they were probably somewhere over there. When the Philistines coming up from the plains, I'm guessing they were somewhere over here between Shoho and Azekah, where we are at right now. And the Philistines stood on a mountain on the one side, and Israel stood on a mountain on the other side. And there was a valley between them. And there went out a champion out of the camp of the Philistines named Goliath of Gath, whose weight was 6 cubits and a span. And he had a helmet of brass upon his head, and was armed with a coat of mail, and the weight of the coat was 5,000 shekels of brass. And he had graves of brass upon his legs, and a target of brass between his shoulders. And the staff of his spear was like a weaver's beam, and his spear's head weighed 600 shekels of iron, and one bearing a shield went before him. Oh, overall, he was a big, mighty man. And the idea was sometimes to saving human lives, because we know there's no winners in a war.
Well, now we're off to the next spot. I believe it is Beersheba.